If you dig the twisted, admire the outlandish, and are enamored by the unusual, you're in the right place. True crime, the supernatural, the unexplained, now you're speaking our language. If you agree, join us as we dive into the darker side. You know, because it's more fun over here. Welcome to Total Conundrum.
Warning, some listeners may find the following content disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, so before we even start this episode, we need to tell you what happened. Because honestly, if we just said it was paranormal, I feel like most of you would believe us.
Yeah, this was one of those moments where you look around and go, is this real life or are we about to become part of the story?
So picture this. We're recording with paranormal investigators Monique Toussoon and Rob Gutro.
Two people who literally spend their lives talking to ghosts.
And right in the middle of the interview, boom, the power goes out.
Pitch black, silence, no computer, no lights, no Wi-Fi, and no podcast.
And at first we thought, okay, maybe we just blew a fuse.
And then we thought, oh, great. The ghost didn't like our questions.
Then we thought maybe the whole neighborhood lost power. And we looked outside and the whole neighborhood was on red alert. It's DEFCON 5.
A little dramatic, Jeremy. But honestly, I was thinking Rob would say, hey, is there a spirit here? And is it annoyed with your audio levels?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Monique and Rob, absolute professionals, total troopers.
They just kept going. Calm, cool, collected. Like, yes, this happens sometimes during investigations.
And we're over here lighting candles like we're about to summon something.
Which, to be clear, we are not trying to do. This is a podcast, not a seance.
Well, debatable.
So tonight's episode is not just about paranormal investigations. It literally felt paranormal to record.
We talk about their experiences investigating together.
Their incredible stories.
And their books that dive into real encounters, real energy, and real moments that make you question everything.
Plus, we survived a blackout to bring you this podcast. So honestly, you're welcome.
Lights are back on, equipment is working, spirits hopefully satisfied.
This is Total Conundrum.
Let's get weird.
Hey, Conundrum crew. Today we have another special treat for you. We have Rob Gutro, which you guys are familiar from the episode that just aired recently. He's back with us. And today we also have Monique Toussoon, and she has joined Rob in investigations. They have a new book that just came out, and we're going to be talking about all the fun adventures that they've had and all of the stuff that they have coming up. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yes. So let's start with the exciting book release. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. The book that we just published January 1st of this year, 2025, is The Haunting of Emery Estate. I was fortunate enough to be able to go with Monique to this event. She set it up, and she can tell you all about that. And I tagged along, and we became a really incredible team that works so well together, really complimenting each other. So I'm going to turn it over to Monique to tell you how it came to be.
Yeah, so I originally was at a Paracon in Massachusetts a few years ago called Mass Paracon, and when I found out there was going to be a pet medium there, I was like, oh, it's going to make my life goal to stalk this man at this Paracon. I'm going to follow him around. I'm going to slash his tires, whatever I have to do to get his attention. And so we kind of followed him around that day because I'm like, I need a pet reading so bad. And then ended up finding out we had a lot in common. And then we ended up talking about doing events together. And it just so happened like 6-7 months later, I was doing an event close to somewhere where Rob used to live. And he had saw the flyer and was like, I want to get in on this. And so the event was called Haunting of Emery Estate, which is also the name of the book. And the event had 30 guests at it. And we separated them. It was 30, yeah, 30, and we separated them in groups of 10. We had 3 different floors at this event, so we had like one group per floor, and each floor had its own dedicated team of investigators. So we had my friend Thomas in the basement, and he was leading one group, and then we had the Paraclauses, which are known as Candace and Derek Feathers up here as well, and they were on the 3rd floor, and they're ghost hunting Santa and Mrs. Claus, which is super cute and a great trigger object when you do it around Christmas time, which we are doing this year. But we also then had me and Rob, who decided to take the 2nd floor of the building, and we took the 2nd floor of the building because Rob could not cross the threshold on the 3rd floor. Very negative energy, like mean, just a lot of bad things happened on the 3rd floor of there. And even I, who a very small medium here, picked up on some crazy hatred up there.
Wow. Energy is it's real. I mean, when you feel that, it's intense.
Yeah. And there was never an intention of writing a book about the location. It just ended up being such a crazy night. And I feel like we've done like 3 to 5 other investigations since then now. And they're all freaking crazy. So it's like putting the drag queen battery in there, and then, the pet medium. Apparently that's what the locations need.
And then you add the Paraclauses to it too. For that one. The ghosts are or spirits, ghosts, whichever, are like, whoa, what's going on here?
They do that with me and drag as it is. They're very confused by me. I got an EVP one time that said he's a lady. And I'm like, oh my God, they know, and they get it. And they're kind of like cracking jokes at me, which is crazy. And we'll get like random stuff about eyelashes, high heels, wigs. They'll talk about, they sass me, they make fun of me, they hit on me. It's really funny.
I love that. Well, and it seems like you have such a great personality that you'll just roll right with it too.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love my spiritual sexual harassment.
Well, and I think Rob had told us that children are very drawn to you as well.
Yeah, and I really never knew why that happened, but I would go ghost hunting and I would immediately pick up on children. And for a while, I was kind of confused about it. I have a child, so I thought maybe that would be why. But I've had people tell me that I have a lot of past lives that follow me around of me as a child. I passed away really young, apparently, a couple of times in a past life. And I've had a few people tell me they think that's why children energy comes to me.
Wow.
Rob says it's because I'm nurturing and I'm mother-like. And I don't really think I'm that mother-like. I'm kind of awful.
I think you're a very caring person with a big heart, and I think that's why children are drawn to her. So.
Yeah, it seems every book we have now that we're getting close to our 3rd book at this point, and it seems like every single book has got a child, right?
Yeah, several of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're following me.
So what kind of interactions do you have with the children?
So there's one place I go a lot, and it's the castle, and it's actually going to be our 3rd book. It's called Wilson Castle, and it's up here in Vermont. And that's where I really started to pick up on the fact that the children were drawn to me. And there's a little boy in this castle, and his name is Elliot, and he presents himself around 10, 11, 12 years old, somewhere in there. But he always seems to like just want to play every time I go there. I don't know if he like thinks I'm a clown, just very drawn to me. And that was the first time I noticed it. And then I tend to bring a lot of toys when I investigate too. I'm a tech nerd for sure. So I do a lot of different equipment. I bring like lights that are different colors. I have a carousel REM pod now. I bring dolls. I bring things that kids would actually be interactive with. I have a robot now that like follows children around. Like just lots of interesting things, and they just seem to come out every time I'm around.
That's very cool. What's this? Is it like an AI robot type thing, or?
It's called a MIP. They had them on Amazon. They used them on a couple of ghost hunting shows. They're hard to get now on Amazon, actually. I bought one of the last 2 that I could find. And yeah, it's just a little white robot, and it apparently follows around whatever it sees. So if you place this in a building and something starts moving and it starts following, think about that. It almost has like an SLS camera in it. So it has like that laser that detects. So
wow, I haven't seen that yet. No, I'm intrigued.
It's underneath my laptop. I would show it to you, or I would have to move everything and it would shake the whole screen and be crazy. But
no, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a cute little white robot. That's all it looks like. Nothing special.
So when you guys are doing investigations, I know you said you really like the tech. Rob, do you lean more towards using your senses,
And
or do you like the tech as well?
yeah, I use my head.
Yeah.
No, Monique is probably the most well-versed person in all the technologies, and we work so well together because sometimes I will get messages from Earthbound Ghosts, and she will use the tech to confirm things or have them do things. One thing about Emery Estate, by the way, is that we didn't know the history of it, and we don't want to know the history of anything before we go into it. So before I even got into the front door, I stood outside and I got uh, a very large sense of foreboding. I knew that something was not going to be right in there, and there wasn't. Before we even welcomed the people on the public investigation, and Monique, by the way, Monique sets all of these public investigations up, and people can find them on her website, moniquetoosoon.com, and she knows how to put everything together. So before we even started, she met me at the front door and we went on a quick walkthrough, and we went to every floor. And as she said, on the third floor, when we got up there, I was like, this is not good. So after we went kind of lingered on the third floor for a while, she said, so what floor do you want to go on? And I said, the second floor, because send somebody else to the third floor.
So what did you sense up there then?
Well, Monique sensed some things too. I just got a terrible, dark, depressing feeling there.
Okay.
It was feelings of dread, and we went up into this. So the Emery Estate looks just like George Washington's Mount Vernon house. Have you ever seen
Okay.
Mount Vernon?
Yeah.
It was styled after that, and
Okay.
it looks like that, but it looks much more dilapidated. It needs a paint job. So in the top, there's like this, what do you call it, Monique? A crow's nest or
Yeah,
lookout?
crow's nest.
So we went
Like
up
a
there.
lookout? Circular lookout type thing?
Yeah. So you
Okay.
can see 360 degrees. And by the way, it has a really awesome view of the Boston skyline.
Ooh.
So, but in that room, in that lookout, I got feelings of dread from like a child that was hiding in fear.
Okay.
So that was pretty unsettling. And then Monique had feelings on the third floor.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yeah. So when I got there, I was given a tour of the building, and on that third floor, I sat down immediately in there. It was definitely, it had Amity eyes on it too. You know, like the Amityville house has those big eyes on the side of the building. So this building has those giant Amity eyes. And when you go up the staircase and you turn left, you actually see the eyes all the way at the end of the hallway. So of course I have to go to that room. But as soon as you get in that room, like, it felt very heavy. I had to sit down because I was getting a really bad headache. And as we were leaving that upstairs floor, that's when I picked up on the fact that it was possibly like an older woman who maybe was in charge of the children there, or something in that direction. It felt very much like a scolding adult. That wasn't very nice. Not necessarily negative in the sense of a demon. I feel like everybody goes to this demon route.
Right.
But, like, you know, just negative in the fact that it was somebody who was just a bad person in real life. And it was a woman for me. I could tell it was a woman.
Okay.
What is the history of this house? I don't know if I'm too familiar with this one.
So,
That's
Monique, you can convey it, or unless you want me to talk about
I think you should. I am horrible with the history, with getting everything completely accurate. Like, I could tell you about any piece of equipment, but the second you start asking me about the history of a place, I'm like, we were there like a year and a half ago, and my brain does not retain the information for that long.
I hear you. Well, so the property is actually 24 acres. That's a huge property, especially south of Boston. And the home was built in 1903, and it was built by somebody named William Binion, but it later purchased by the Emery family in, I think it was 1960, and it was purchased by the Emery family. And they were big into the wool trade. There were sheep that were all on that 24 acre property. But the other thing about that family is that they were very conservative and religious. We later found out that Billy Graham stayed there.
Okay.
So, and the downstairs was set up, the basement. So to me, this was kind of creepy, but to the the basement was set up with little desks for children, and I guess they had Bible school or Bible study there.
Okay.
So, I mean, not knowing anything that's going on, that's what we kind of walked into. By the way, in 2011, that's when the town of Weymouth purchased the property in the surrounding area. So, in the surrounding area, they made it into a giant park because it overlooks Boston, and
Okay.
people can go there, free of charge to the park, I think. But I think they're still doing tours at Emery Estate today. I'm not sure because it's been
Yeah,
a
I
year and a
think
half. But so that's the history of it.
Okay.
And the family that lived there, the Emery family that lived there for the majority of the period, with the exception of 13 years since the house was built, because they were so conservative and in their religion, they were also very strict. And that strictness came through to me as a medium through the impressions of what was the emotions left in the walls from the children. So they're probably very strict with the children. I mean, that was my impression. And scared them.
So do you think the womanly figure on the third floor was the mother, or do you think it was somebody else that was at the house at some point, or something with the ground or surrounding area?
It felt like a Sunday school girl teacher or something, like a Sunday school teacher, or like the lady who was in charge of we can obviously not confirm this. We were told
Right.
stories. We were given some information that after the fact that possibly that they were putting special needs children up there and they were abused up there because
Oh,
think back to those times, like there was a lot of like the disappointment room kind of situations going on. And it
right.
almost seemed as if like there was like really bad child abuse happening on that third floor. So I don't know, because we obviously can't confirm it, but there's something about that's what it felt like up there. It was very abusive. There were like marks on walls and radiators and stuff that didn't look fitting to
Like somebody was
wear and
chained.
tear. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible. No
So
wonder it's so heavy up there.
the whole building is really heavy, but that third floor is just it's negative heavy. It's sad. I can understand why Rob, like just turning around the corner, was like, nope, no. You don't want to see or feel that stuff. You don't want to go through someone else's torture.
No, definitely not.
Not
And
purposely.
with the tech that you had there, did you pick up on get any good evidence and stuff while you were there from the
Yeah.
tech?
So we always have like a little meet and greet before we do an event. That's like one of the things I pride myself in. And I like to sit down with each group and talk about the equipment we're using, what it does, what they can expect if it's going off.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of give everyone a little bit of an educational course about the people that are working the events. So they know who's sensitive. They also know how to use their bodies and their tools that they bought with them. So that night when we started on the second floor, we immediately were connecting to a little boy, almost immediately. And we were using a Phasma box radio at first, which is just like a white noise that has no in it. All the white noise is cut out of it. And it was really crystal clear. And we had EMF candles going, and they were going off a lot that night as well. But the superstar device, I think, for us this whole evening was a hot or cold device. And it is like a little square screen, and it's just like probably 50 different little light bulbs on it. And I always demonstrate showing people this device by holding like a cold object behind one side and putting my hand on the other. And it will show you right where the cold object is. And it will show you right where the warm object is. It's very sensitive, so you can see when the things are moving. So as soon as we started connecting with this little boy that night, we put this sensor right in the doorway. I don't think the thing stopped being blue, the whole screen, for hours. He was on the other side of this thing, just holding on to my hand And we were grabbing onto the fact that he was looking for an escape route in a sense. He was being held there against his will. And, he did not leave my side for all three groups. I think the third group, he was there for just a little bit and then ducked away and we couldn't find him again after.
Yeah,
Wow.
and there was a reason why he wasn't there really much for the third group. But one thing I want to just interject for a moment is when I'm on these investigations, I can see them sometimes in my mind what they look like, and then I sketch them out. So in the book, The Haunting of Emery Estate, I actually sketched the little boy out, reaching out to Monique. I don't know if you can see that. But,
Yeah.
I can see.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's so yeah, so I do that, and there was another ghost that we encountered soon after that that I sketched out also in the book. But one thing that really was surprising is that when we brought that first group up, and Monique connected to the little boy, while she was communicating with him, and I was sketching him out, she asked him to say hello, and out of the Phasma box came, "Hi, Monique," and everybody
Wow.
gasped in the room, including myself. I was like, "Oh
Right?
my!" That, talk about a confirmation right there.
That happens
That's
a
really
lot.
cool.
I don't gasp a lot anymore because that happens everywhere we go. I
I
can
know
always
it.
I can always get them to say my name. Almost always. And that's really fun when you're doing an event with people too. And they're like, I don't believe in ghosts. And I'm like, you want to hear my name? And then they say it
Oh,
and everyone's like all out like, how can you explain that? You can't.
You can't. And I
Yeah.
think that we are all going to need a Monique's toy list because you have a lot of toys that I have never heard of.
I definitely want this Phasma box for sure.
Oh, so
That-
Phasmabox is an app that you download on, but it only works on like older computers. You have to find a specific computer to work this thing. I had to go on eBay and buy an old computer to get it to work.
Okay.
But amazing radio. You'll see it on TV shows sometimes. I saw it at events. That's how I first heard about it. But incredible. I'll definitely share a list of all my toys. I have
yes.
probably $20,000 worth of ghost hunting toys.
Yeah, I built one of those Geo boxes, but it didn't really turn out too good. It didn't.
I think it did. It's just you have to really be listening because it's almost like a
They're quiet.
they're quiet and you have to really listen because it's almost like an echoey voice.
Yeah, and then when something comes through, it gets really loud, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
But
a
I
Geo
was-
box. Yeah.
I don't think I had it set up very good or something.
Yeah, they're all the radios are very finicky and you have to get them into the right spot. And then once you do, they'll talk a lot, but it does take a minute to figure out where to go with the radio. Every one of them. There's no easy one.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we have just a few little toys. We have a REM pod. We have a couple or 3 or 4 recorders. The spirit box or the what is it?
Ton of
SD?
cameras, though.
What's that? Oh yeah, a lot
Ton
of
of cameras.
cameras.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yes. We actually we went to the Roth House in Illinois and it was the Watsika Wonder, the first spiritual possession story. We went there. It's an Airbnb that you can rent out. And Jeremy finally convinced me to go to the basement. We are not ghost hunters by any means. It was just like a fun, let's try this. Let's get
I
the equipment. And we went down to the basement and the REM pod was reacting to me quite a bit. And I was like, okay, can you touch this? And it would go off. And I'm like, okay, back away. And it would stop. And I recorded it and we went upstairs and I put the REM pod on the grand piano. And I was playing the recording for one of the other girls that was with us. And the REM pod started reacting to the recording. So every time in the recording, I'd say, can you touch it? It would touch it. And then I would say, okay, in the recording, it would be back away and it would stop. And then all of a sudden the batteries died in it. which they shouldn't have because we hadn't used it that long. Well, when we got home, I was going through, we had a Ring camera set up in the room, and I was watching the Ring camera when that was happening. And there was a part where I asked, "Can you tell me your name?" And all you hear is this inaudible, like almost like a growl. And I was like, well, then, glad I didn't hear that night.
Then you see Tracy running out of the building.
I would. We are actually
Never run.
going. What's that?
Never run out.
No, I know. We are actually going on our first official ghost hunt with a paranormal team from Minnesota, Midwest Spirit Seekers. They're doing an event at the Malvern Manor in Iowa. They're raising money for type 1 diabetes, and we're going to that this weekend. And we actually, so we're going to investigate with them privately on Friday, and then we're doing the group event on Saturday. But our Airbnb that we rented out in Malvern is an old church,
Oh.
an old
It's gotta be
Presbyterian
haunted.
church. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay there and probably, break out some of our equipment and just see if we get anything. The whole upstairs of the church, it was bought by an artist, and he painted this beautiful, like, just mesmerizing mural on the whole, a lofted ceiling, and then the basement is the actual apartment or Airbnb, but we have access to the upstairs. And our room, I found out by watching a YouTube video, is the old pastor's room. Whoever was the pastor at the church at the time would stay in that room. So I'm like, it should be interesting.
I've
But
only ever done one church, and it was very negative.
I hope that's not the case, because I'll be sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's always, you would think that with, a religious property or a church or whatever, you would think it would be more positivity, but it always seems like there is a lot of negativity in them, which is sad.
I've been to a number of churches too, and I think I can explain that. I'm an ex-Catholic, so I could probably tell you why. The reason most people will go to church is because they're depressed, they're downtrodden, they're feeling neglected or abandoned. They're feeling hopeless. So people come into these churches with all of those negative emotions. And all of those negative emotions become imprinted on the walls into the structure. So when we go in, anybody who's sensitive, when we go into a church, the first thing we feel is depression, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, all of those negative emotions. So, and I can tell you, like I said, I've been a lot of churches especially when I was a kid, but they're always the same. They're always the same, which is surprising, because that's where people are supposed to be lifted up and, feel good about themselves. But that's not always the case, because everybody that comes there is seeking some kind of happiness.
Right.
So does that make sense?
I'm rethinking this Airbnb thing.
I think somebody's going to be sleeping in the car.
Well, I guess my only saving grace is we'll probably be investigating at Melbourne at night. I'll be sleeping during the day, and usually there's a little less activity during the daytime hours, usually. So we'll see.
Good luck with that.
That's what I'm going to tell myself anyway.
Yeah, you do that.
Well, when we were at the Roth House in Watsika, Illinois, I'm like, everybody is sleeping, and I'm sitting there and I'm staring at the ceiling, eyes going back and forth. And I finally had to put my AirPods in and turn my iPad on to have something, because I just kept waiting and anticipating something happening. And I really want to get into doing paranormal investigations, because I don't want to be afraid. I want to see the beauty in it. I want to you know, experience it and not have the intense fear that I have. I grew up in a very haunted house. So I think that has just resonated with me, and I don't want fear. I just want to experience the beauty in it that a lot of people do.
So I would look at it as you're going to a place that may have an invisible roommate. And they were all people or
Right.
pets at some point.
Right.
And most of them realize that they're stuck and they want help crossing over. So, you do run into an occasional jerk. Monique and I have run into a couple of those. And but for the most part, ghosts realized that they made the wrong choice to stay earthbound when they died. So there's really, I wouldn't come in there as fearful. I would come in there more as inquisitive.
Mhm.
So, just remember, if you just remember that they're all people or all pets at one point in time. I've been doing paranormal investigations for 20 years and I've never encountered anything demonic. And I personally don't believe in demons. I think demons are extraterrestrials who come in spirit here. And then
Mhm.
they look at us and they go, "Oh, wow, that's ugly." I'm going to attack it. But you never know. But we try. Monique and I try to help bring comfort, and we've done that on all the investigations we've been on, and we've done some crossings over too,
I was
which have
just going
been
to ask that.
yeah.
So when you do a crossing over, what is that process?
Monique,
Well, that's more you than me. I'm still like I feel like an apprentice to that. Like I don't. That's not my magic. My magic is being beautiful.
Well, you succeeded there. Anybody who is just listening, you have to jump on YouTube. You have to see how gorgeous she is.
Mhm. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Rob, you
and
really are the expert.
all of your stuff in the background is really very cool. I keep like looking around.
Elvira.
It's all Elvira. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some Ouija boards and stuff in there too, but most of it is Elvira.
What is in the
For sure.
top corner that has the red blinking light that keeps catching my eye? Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's blinking, but you just see my ring light in it. That's an
Oh,
Elvira in a red
Oh.
dress.
okay.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
look like it's blinking.
Yeah, everything is Elvira. It's everything behind me.
Oh, you know what? It's the recording light on
Oh,
Riverside.
definitely could be
That's
that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's exactly
It's
what
on
it
all
is.
four.
Oh, that's
I've been
funny that you're reflecting.
Yeah, that is hilarious. But yeah, lots of cool stuff in the background there. But yeah, so what is the crossing over process? What does that entail?
So we didn't get to do a crossing over at Emory Estate, but we did in the next investigation, which will be, I'm going to plug this, uh, the next book that is coming out January 1st, 2026. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the cover. It's called The Haunting of Hunt Memorial Library. And here is a
Ooh.
sneak peek for those of you on YouTube.
All right.
Love that.
This is in Nashua, New Hampshire. And Monique found this place through one of her clients to have our book signing for Emory Estate. And the client said that there were ghosts there in the Hunt Memorial Library. So Monique put together another public investigation. And we
Very
did that afterward. And we ran into 3 different ghosts and we crossed 2 of them over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can't wait to come back in January and talk to you about that.
Yes, for sure.
How do you have time to investigate when you're always writing?
I am powered by Duncan.
Duncan.
Yeah.
If you've never been investigating with Rob, one thing I learned really quickly about Rob is that the NASA side of Rob comes through, and he is a note taker. And we leave an investigation, and Rob already has a book written. just in what you've written down into,
Wow.
which is great to have on a team. You know, you always want to have a tech person, you want to have mediums everywhere, but you also need someone that's actually going to write everything down or go
Yeah.
through. So it's been a blessing, you know. I never would have written a book if it hadn't been for Rob.
And she has so many great adventures. I mean, the ghosts are just so hyperactive whenever Monique comes into a place. I will say though, I am happy that I can actually write in pitch black and be able to read it when I come out.
That's a talent.
That
That's
is a
for sure.
talent.
Yeah. In the Emery estate, it was. Oh, getting back to your question about crossing over. So crossings over are really it really requires a lot of people. It requires a lot of people using their emotional energy, focusing. When we did 2 crossings over at the library, we had to get all the public investigators, the people that were ticketed, the public investigators, to help with their emotional energy. Focus on a point in the room and try to imagine a white light opening, a tunnel opening, and then widening it. And then what we do as investigators is we connect to the energy of the ghost, the earthbound ghost, and we connect through the light to a spirit on the other side that is related to them in some way, whether a boyfriend, girlfriend, parent, grandparent, whatever, and try to get them to convince that person to cross over, the earthbound ghost to cross over and become spirit. So some of the crossing, one of the crossings that we did with the big group, it took like 20 minutes, and we had the Paraclauses, we had Alora and David and Monique and I, and we were the focal points, and Amy. But everybody added to the energy. And it was intense. And usually after a crossing over, I always feel a warm burst of air.
Okay.
So that's a confirmation that the crossing over has taken place. And I've done quite a number of them with the Inspired Ghost Dragon team when I was in Maryland. And I've written about those too. But we want to help people. We want to help the ghosts. We want to bring them peace. And we also want to help the living and clear the ghosts out and bring them peace.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that. So, Monique, when you encounter a spirit or a ghost that is not very friendly, how do you respond, or how do you interact with them?
The same way I interact with any other ghost,
Yeah.
out of respect. And, you know, if they want to be rude to me, they can be rude to me. I get a kick out of, you know, the spiritual, sometimes like the way they treat me, I get a kick out of it. You know, I'm like, face the hatred in real life and in the afterlife. But, you know, if they're going to be negative, then they don't need to play. Sometimes we tell them to go away and let the other ghosts come forward. Or if they're being negative and making everything go off in the room, we let them stay for a little bit. But like Rob said, I'm not a big believer in demons. I've never come across anything that I would consider demonic. I've never had anything like throw me across a room like you see in a movie or drag me down the stairs. So, I mean, most of the things that I've thought were demonic were just really negative, mean old men spirits or just people that were nasty in real life. So if I come across someone nasty in the afterlife, I do what I do in the real life, and I just either don't talk to them or I try to get them to be crazier. I guess that's probably a horrible thing to say, but you know, you kind of want the ghost to react. So
Right. I can see you letting off a whole lot of sass in that situation.
oh yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I'll mess with them. I'll make jokes. I feel like when we're laughing, they are more active as well. I feel like us putting a lot of energy into that atmosphere is kind of like what triggers a lot of the energy we get back. And that's probably one of the things about my events that I feel like is a lot more fun. I actually had somebody give me a review one time, and they said that one of the best parts of ghost hunting with a drag queen is that anytime it gets really scary, I'll say something stupid and just make them laugh.
Well, and laughter you would think would almost be more of a powerful energy than
Probably pissing
Here.
them off more.
Yeah. Like, think of Monsters Inc., the movie. You know, the laughter is what ended up making
Oh,
more
that's
energy,
right.
and not that it wasn't actually the scaring that did it was the laughing. And so, like, even with ghost hunting, when we're laughing and having fun, it seems that the energy relaxes as well, and it just has more fun with us. And they're probably just as scared of us as we are of them in some circumstances too, because they
Right.
don't know what's going on in some cases. So it's kind of going in there and approaching it with a respectful way. And if you want to be negative to me, I'm going to be negative to you, or I'm going to ignore you right back. So
Give you the hand.
yeah, you don't have to talk to me. You're trying to talk to me.
That's right.
And we had one of those at Emory, by the way. That was ghost number 2.
Ghost number 2.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, ghost number 2. He was he was a jerk. I could say he was a jerk. He was very controlling. He was very strict. He was very yeah. He was not a nice person in life, and because he didn't cross over, because he stayed earthbound, he maintained his horrible personality, his controlling, strict personality, if you will, and he prevented us from doing what we wanted to do to help others.
Right.
So I call him the man in the gray suit. And he showed up when Monique was connecting with the little boy. And as a matter of fact, I was standing. Monique was sitting at a table, a long table in this room on the second floor, and all the people in the public investigation were sitting around the table. And I was standing near another doorway, which went through went next to a bathroom that cut through into another bedroom. And when Monique was talking to the little boy, suddenly I looked up and there was this tall man in a gray suit standing right there. And he had a very, very sour look on his face. He was not happy that Monique was connecting to this little boy. So I knew right there, this guy's going to be trouble. And he was.
So, is there anything to like spirits or ghosts, like after time? You know, kind of like TV shows. You know how they kind of portray them as they kind of forget who they are, and they just kind of get mean and warped as time goes on. Or is that not true?
I've seen so many different personalities in the afterlife. You don't really know. But I would assume that just the longer you're here, and if you were already negative, the anger would grow. But you've also got to think about like what's feeding that energy too, because energy has to feed somehow in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't just exist. So there's something there. But you got to think, like, if somebody moves into a house with a negative spirit, they're going to feed that negativity if they're being negative, and they're going to cause it to be even more negative. And we had that circumstance happen at a farm. You know, like, if you're feeding negativity, it's going to grow, and it's going to grow in that spirit. I don't know. You probably could answer that more than me about just in general, but
No, I totally agree. That one thing that I found about earthbound ghosts is that because they, unlike spirits who have crossed over, who are all about love and hope and faith and so forth, earthbound ghosts are about fear, anxiety, depression, and anger. And because they feed on those emotions from living people, they also emit that energy, that emotional energy, and they make the people that live in those houses feel more depressed, feel more anxious, feel more angry, more short-tempered. As a matter of fact, we experienced that firsthand at Emory Estate with the guy with the bad attitude, because he went and he purposely, I would say, mentally attacked one of the people in our group, in the public group, by making her feel anxious and depressed and fearful. And fortunately she vocalized it, and then we took steps to protect her.
Okay.
So yeah, so that they can definitely make people feel uncomfortable.
So on the flip side of that, with having a negative experience or dealing with that heaviness and anger coming from like that guy in the gray suit or whatever. Do you guys have any memories of a favorite memory of an encounter with a ghost, whether it be something that was humorous or light or um just, something that was out of the ordinary, like funny or anything like that?
I have a really funny one, but I find it, and just from personal experience, that the spirits they're generally happy when we're there to talk to them. They're getting to talk, they're getting to tell their stories. We're like energy healing in a way, even if we're not crossing spirits over. Ghost hunting and going to these locations, we're hearing their stories, we're talking to them. Sometimes they're healed just from the talking, too. Sometimes telling their story heals them enough that they're able to move on, or like one of our spirits never came back after telling his story. We never crossed him over, but he just never came back.
Mm-hmm.
What was I answering again? I just went off on a
The funny
tangent.
story. Squirrel.
Squirrel. It happens to me a lot.
Me too.
But with happy spirits, is that what we were talking
Well, funny
about?
story.
Oh, funny ones.
Funny
Oh my
story,
God.
yeah.
So I was ghost hunting in this location in Massachusetts, which is called the Murdoch Whitney Mansion. And they have a haunted toy museum across the street. It's like these two locations. You can rent them out together. And this was a location that has a lot of like collective antique stuff from wars and whatnot. And we were in this location one night, and I was feeling really stalked in there by spirits, and a lot more than one. Like I felt like the war guys, like there were sailors or something, and they were just like, I felt very lurked on that night, and I love it. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. But so we had necrophonics going, and I was just like, I have to ask a question and we're going to get an answer. I just know we're going to get an answer. And I asked the question, and I was like, if there were a bunch of sailors in here right now and you could do whatever it is that you wanted to me, what would you do? And necrophonics immediately goes, sex, 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 sex. It like echoes all the way through for a solid like 20 seconds. And I'm like, told you. And everyone just stood up and started screaming. It's probably the funniest thing that's ever happened. And it was like immediate, the response. There was no waiting. There was no lingering. It was immediate. And I've never heard that word come out before.
So what is the necrophonics?
So it's kind of like Phasmabox. It's an app, but necrophonics actually works inside your cell phone. So anytime you use it, I would shut your internet off so it's not collecting anything from internet. But it's kind of the similar thing, and you can connect it to a Bluetooth speaker too, so it can get really loud.
Okay.
But necrophonics cuts out a lot of that weird noise. You can turn it on echo mode. And obviously that when we got that one, it was on echo mode because it said it multiple times. So sometimes echo mode helps because it repeats the answer that you're hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Write that one down, Jeremy.
Yeah, and that comes out like one word at a time. So it's not like full sentences where like you'll like Phasmabox, you can hear a full sentence come through. But necrophonics, I believe, is like more of like a one word thing. Like it'll say something, but it won't be like the cat is black. It'll say the cat, or just one word, one of those words.
So kind of like an Oculus.
Kind of, but not like a digital screen where you read the word, it talks.
Right.
Yeah, I have an Ovulus, an original one.
Do you?
Yeah,
I wanna
it's
get one of
nice.
those. We use the, what is it, like Spirit Box app or something like that?
Yeah. We've
Yeah.
used that to confirm things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just turn it on to airplane mode so you're not hitting the internet. And
Yeah, there's
Just-
another company that has a Polter script, which is kind of like an Ovulus, similar idea.
yeah, we went to a poor farm cemetery in Duluth, Minnesota. Was a couple years ago, and that was the first time that we had used that spirit box or spirit app or whatever it was called. And Jeremy and I were sitting on this like rock retaining wall, and it was kind of like the center memorial, and it was very sad because at the cemetery all they have is those little circular cement stamped things in the ground, and that's all they have for grave markers.
Just a number.
And there was like 4,500 people buried there, and out of those 4,500 people, I think there was actually only one or two gravestones that had names on it. But But we were sitting there and we had the REM pod kind of out in the grass and it was going off. And he's like, it's the grass hitting it. I'm like, the grass isn't tall enough to hit the antenna on it. And he stood up and he was like, ugh. And I was like, what? And then the Oculus said, soar. Or that the Spirit Box app said soar.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa. That was very cool. So sometimes it's, they say things that are just not really or not really in conjunction, but that one was right on.
It's always so
'cause my
good.
back is hurting.
Yeah. You
But-
gotta love a response.
Yes, yes. Well, we had that same place. I was we had just gotten new cameras and I was trying to get the camera working, and Jeremy had just bought a new drone because we wanted to get drone footage and stuff. But unfortunately, he couldn't fly the drone there because there's a government
Restricted area.
government building or something that was close to it. So he wasn't able to fly it. But I was like trying to get this camera going, and I'm like, I yelled across the field to him. I'm like, the mic's not working. And all of a sudden in the woods, I hear a repeat. I hear,
She froze for me too. Did she freeze for you?
She did.
Yeah, they're both frozen. I'll be right back. Oh, it's just us now.
It's just us kids.
I needed a bathroom break, so that was perfect.
See, there's a reason for everything.
That's funny. They were having internet issues.
Yes. So I am very excited that the Haunting of Home Memorial Library is all set to go.
Yes, did you replace that book cover?
I did.
Okay, good. Because that was
I
the one
did.
where it was like cut off on the side.
Yes. Yeah. So putting together the press package, and I'll send all that to you too. So I just need a quote for the press release.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I could start in the Wilson Castle.
Yay.
I know, but I want to do it before I forget stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta we gotta call Andy and Denise too. I'll set that up soon. I don't want to do it till it's like close to the time we're doing it, so it doesn't just sit somewhere. And with me, it's everything is more available to my brain when it's in my current history.
Me too. And with the holidays coming up, it's a lot to process. And
Yeah.
plus we've got to get the book signing thing for the Hunt book together.
Hmm.
So
I know she asked me when I was doing her hair, and I was just like, oh yeah, we could definitely do that. I think we'll just do a book signing, not like an investigation.
Yeah.
Just because it was great, but I don't know if it'll be as exciting. I don't know. Maybe. I just honestly, I think I want to do less and just do a book party. Have fun, sign. But
I'm
I
good
think
with that.
Nashua will promote it for us. I think the mayor's office will push this, which is really good.
Okay. We have to. So I'll have to send them a copy. Oh, it's Traci. Hello, Traci.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know what happened. We heard a pop and our whole neighborhood's black.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I guess your power is out.
Yeah.
Well, we're still on and it's still recording. So
And it's still recording. Yeah, I can't do anything because yeah, we're sitting here in complete blackness.
okay.
If you guys want to maybe just hang tight for, we'll say like 15 minutes, maybe it'll come back on.
But what we could do is Monique and I could just do a quick little wrap up together, and you can use that to wrap up. And that way we don't have to come back, and she doesn't have to put herself together again.
Perfect. Yeah. Do you guys? He said it's still recording, so they're gonna do just a little wrap up on there. And
Okay. Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks, guys, and I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. That has never happened.
It was
to us
so
when
close
we're-
anyway to the hour, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, we're close to the hour. So we'll tell people where to find us and tell them about the next book and say thank you, and then that way you guys can come on afterward and sew it all together.
Sounds great. And then if you also want to talk about your event that's coming up. Yeah.
We'll do that.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Monique.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So here's the closing in 3, 2, 1. Well, since Traci and Jeremy got knocked off the air because of a power failure where they are, Monique and I are going to wrap up the show for them. And we're going to tell you a little bit about where to find us and a couple of things coming up. Monique, can you tell people about what things are coming up for us?
Sure. The most recent thing we have coming up is on December 20th at the S.K. Pierce Mansion in Gardner, Mass. And that event, the tickets are pretty close to sold out, but they are available on moniquetoosoon.com. We are also going to be in Atlantic City together next year, and those tickets are on sale as well. And we'll be investigating the Absecon Lighthouse, which is, from what I hear, very exciting.
And those are very limited, right? There's only like 20 people.
No, 10 tickets per group. So it's a very, very small group. Yeah. And we're going to be running 2 courses. So we're going to do 2 2-hour investigations with 10 people in each group.
And where can people find those tickets?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I will add them to my website, moniquetoosoon.com, and they'll be able to get them through there.
Excellent. So moniquetoosoon.com. And for anyone who wants to find the book, you can get it on Amazon. It's Haunting of Emery Estate. And in January 1st, look at that. January 1st, 2026, our brand new one is coming out, The Haunting of Hunt Memorial Library. And we're also going to have a book signing event in Nashua, New Hampshire at the Hunt Memorial Library sometime after the first of the year. So watch moniquetoosoon.com or robgutro.com or petspirits.com. And you can find us both there. So we wanted to thank Traci and Jeremy. Monique, do you have anything else you want to throw in there?
No, that was everything. Yeah. Thank you, Traci and Jeremy, for having us. It was a great time.
Thank you both. And we look forward to joining you again so we can talk about the Hunt Memorial Library in 2026. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us here at Total Conundrum. Please make sure to check out our website and blog at totalconundrum.com for news, upcoming events, merch, bloopers, and additional hysteria. You never know what will pop up, so be sure to follow along. If you want to show your support for Total Conundrum and gain access to all of our bonus content, please visit our Patreon page. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The links are available in our show notes. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, or stories to share, please email us at contact@totalconundrum.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate the love. Keep on creeping on, mother cluckers.